Following developing news this evening, a woman said after being hit by a TTC bus. This was at Royal York Station.
Our Steve Ryan is joining us live from the scene with the very latest. What's the update there, Steve?
Well, we know, according to police, Melissa, that this happened just after 1 o'clock this afternoon here at Royal York Station, which is at Royal York and Bloor. It appears as though a TTC bus was exiting the depot, which faces east of where I'm standing right now. And when we got on scene, I could see, you can see that we use that bus that's facing north-south right now as a reference point. The bus that was involved in this fatality was facing in a southwest direction. So it's mostly facing where I'm standing right now. Clearly, that's where the point of impact occurred. A woman in her a senior elderly woman. She died as a result. The Toronto Police Traffic Services were on scene. They'll continue to do their investigation. Now, there is signs up showing that it's dangerous to be on the platform. We don't know whether or not this was the reason for this collision, but the people are prohibited from going on the platform because it is very dangerous. And you can imagine a bus making a right turn around that corner that's facing east right now, and as it turned to come west in the southwest direction, that appears like where this bus is heading right now, coming out, that appears as to where the point of impact occurred. So this will be investigated by the police, and they'll determine exactly what led up to this tragic incident. Here's more from Toronto Police, who we heard from earlier on. Let's listen.
Police attended the Royal York subway station for reports of a woman who was pinned underneath a TTC bus in the Bus Bay area. Unfortunately, the woman was pronounced deceased at the scene. Police are working with the TTC and are reviewing video surveillance in the Bus Bay area. Anyone who witnessed this incident are asked to contact traffic services.
So you can see people are continuously walking on this area here where they're not supposed to walk. That can be very dangerous. I mean, the buses are somewhat blindsided when they make that turn. So this will be part of the investigation, and the traffic services will make a determination as to the cause of this collision and the circumstances surrounding it. So thank you, guys.
Okay, CP24's Steve Ryan. Steve, thank you.
Melissa and Bakari, we have learned that the rotating strike will actually not begin in Toronto. It's not likely to begin in Toronto tomorrow. We had a chance to speak with the president of Toronto Local for CUPW, and he said he hasn't heard anything. When will it come to our area, to our region? It will happen soon. We just don't know when. Now, mail and parcel delivery will resume as soon as possible. Government checks will be prioritized, but then you can expect other mail to come in by Tuesday or Wednesday. The strike began 2 weeks ago after the federal government announced sweeping changes to the Canada Post mandate, which would allow the Crown Corporation to significantly overhaul its service, like eventually getting rid of door-to-door delivery nationwide and also getting rid of post offices in rural communities, and for non-urgent mail to be moved by ground instead of air. The Crown Corporation is losing more than $1 billion annually. And we, as I said, we had a chance to hear from Toronto Local President Mark Lubinsky from the Canadian Union of Postal Workers today.
But we needed to make a strong statement when the post office was being gutted out, and the plan of it gutting out continues by the Carney Liberal government. And this is not an elbows up approach. It's definitely an elbows down approach, attacking the public service, attacking Canada Post, attacking postal workers, attacking the working class, the middle class.
And Canada Post has said in a statement that it welcomes back its employees and that plans are underway to ensure a safe and orderly restart of our national operations. Now, rotating strikes will begin tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Back to you.
Appreciate that update. Thanks so much for that, Arda.
Police are investigating an attempted jewelry store robbery in Vaughan. So here's live footage from CP24. This is over the scene on Colossus Drive and Famous Avenue. This is near Western Road and Highway 7. So police say that a driver reversed into a jewelry store. The suspects were not able to get inside or take anything. Nobody was hurt. There is a significant police presence in the area for the investigation. Take a look at this. You can see that's the jewelry store. All of those police cars in the parking lot. Pretty much no one else is there. And you can see it looks like it's cordoned off as well with that crime tape up there. So what we're going to do is continue to follow this. You can see Chopper 24 is zooming in over this scene right here. In addition to the police vehicles there's a lot of people walking around. Some of those officers look like they are wearing plain clothes right there. But again, as this continues to develop, we will bring you the very latest. And this is the scene near Colossus Drive and Famous Avenue near Western Road and Highway 7.
Police are also investigating a suspicious fire at a business on Bloor near Spadina. Chopper 24 is live over that scene. This is Bloor, just west of Brunswick Avenue this morning. Toronto Fire says there are reports that someone threw something on fire into a store here. Now, the flames were out by the time firefighters arrived. This all happened just after 5 o'clock this morning. The store was closed at the time. The good news here, again, no injuries. But again, someone apparently throwing something on fire into a local business. Well, police in other news are investigating after shots were fired overnight in Vaughan. We'll take you live to the scene this morning. This is Choplin Boulevard, a residential home. Officers responding to this area just before 4 o'clock this morning. There are several evidence markers on the front of the house, on the lawn and the driveway, and then, of course, some bullet markings on the door as well. No injuries have been reported here. The suspect left the scene before police arrived, and no description has been provided. Police say there will be an increased presence in the area as the investigation continues.
Joining us live now for more on the operational impact is OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt. Sergeant Schmidt, good to have you with us to talk about this. This is an annual thing because, of course, during the Thanksgiving Day long weekend, people are anxious, more people out on the roads, heading to cottage country. What are you reminding drivers as they head into the weekend?
Well, this is not just a provincial police campaign. This is actually part of the Canadian Association Chiefs of Police all across Canada. Anywhere you're going this weekend in the country, you're going to be seeing officers out there looking at those high-risk driving behaviors. We talk about it all the time. Speeding is the #1 killer of the Big Four. We've had 269 people die already this year. 59 of those were because of aggressive driving or speeding. We also have distraction and inattention right there behind it. And speaking of problems, I know Lisa was talking about traffic issues out in the West End. We had a tractor trailer smash into the back of a fire truck this morning. We are still there, and that's the reason for that closure out near Newtonville Road. One lane is actually getting by, but 2 firefighters are lucky. They were inside their fire truck when it was struck. And again, that goes right to the heart of those Big Four issues: distraction, aggressive driving, and really the inattentiveness in this situation. So you can expect officers really all across the country to be focusing on those things. So again, buckle up, make sure you're properly seat belted, wear a helmet. Lots of people out there looking at those beautiful colors, or maybe watching wildlife, going up to beautiful parts of the province, but you got to pay attention because there's a lot of traffic out there.
Yeah, it's such an important message to reiterate. Carrie, how are the roads looking this morning? You mentioned the one issue involving the fire truck, but anything else that you're seeing in terms of volume or problems out there?
Yeah, well, I'm on the 401 here, right through the heart of Toronto as well, and like the issues that were reported earlier out by Dixon and throughout the GTA, we do have slowdowns. It's morning rush hour. The sun is coming up. It's a beautiful day, and so there's no reason for people to be getting themselves into trouble unless they're not paying attention. So, focus on the road. It might be a little bit early if kids aren't going to school, and now they're anxious to get up to the cottage. And of course, if you are heading north, I just want people to also be very mindful of the water. People are drowning. We've had marine fatalities as well. Wear those life jackets, and when you're heading up north, don't be distracted by the beautiful colors. Pay attention to the roads around you, and of course, anytime you're going anywhere, also watch out for those motorcycles, pedestrians, bicyclists. It may be a bit cooler, but those smaller, vulnerable road users are still out there. So please be careful, and we're going to be out there making sure people are doing their part as well.
Yeah, speaking of cooler temperatures, we are in that transitional month right now. We know that winter is coming, and that means, the changing of seasonal tires to winter tires. We also seen some horrific accidents involving, tires flying off cars, hitting other vehicles, and these can be absolutely deadly. So what should people know about tires when it comes to changing them and making sure they're safe?
Well, we're almost to that point. When we start seeing those temperatures down below 7 degrees in those single digits, you're going to have better traction on winter tires than on all-season tires. You don't need to have ice and snow on the ground. It's the temperature of the pavement and temperature of the tires and how they interact and how much traction you get. So make sure when you do change them that they're properly installed. Go back and double check to make sure all those wheel fasteners are tight. You can do that with your tire iron, or go back to the shop if you had it done professionally. And make sure, again, yesterday morning we had frost up in central Ontario. People were scraping their windshields with from frost.
Wow.
And so again, don't depend on your defroster and have that little peephole through the front of the glass. Go and make sure your whole vehicle is clear of ice and snow, and of course make sure your washer fluid is topped up. Emergency kits, like I don't really want to be talking about winter weather, but it is on its way, and be ready. And when you change those tires off, make sure that they are properly installed, because we do see a spike in wheel separations around this time of year when everyone's going to those new sets of tires on their vehicles. So again, just due diligence and just be aware of how your vehicle's operating.
Yeah. All right. OPP Sergeant Gary Schmidt joining us live this morning. Sergeant, thank you for your time, and I hope you have a nice Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so this has some similarities. This man, police allege,
Was in his driveway on Lorraine Street in Richmond Hill when he was attacked for no reason whatsoever. Oftentimes when a person is the attacker, the assailant, and there's no other criminality. There's no robbery, there's no dispute, there's no argument. Sometimes it suggests that the person doing the attacking was experiencing some sort of crisis, but this will all be part of the investigation. This man who was beaten, police allege, was transported to hospital last night just after 5 p.m. and he was pronounced deceased in the hospital, and there was a 23-year-old man arrested just a short time later, and now is facing 1 count of second-degree murder and 2 counts of breach of probation. We have the video surveillance from the neighborhood, and you can see this guy walking along the sidewalk. And you can see how casually he's walking. So there is no rhyme, no reason for this. There's no reason to suspect this individual is up to anything, and this attack happened. So these are the type of attacks that really are bothersome for law enforcement, because as Chief Murrah said out in Durham during the attack of that woman when she was stabbed to death, how do you tell your citizens that you police how to be safe? Because there are some situations that you can't prevent, and this may be one of them. It's very concerning for police.
So what would you do in this case? How would you protect yourself or defend yourself?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. And oftentimes police tell us to be aware of your surroundings, but if you're in your own driveway, do you need your head on a swivel? How do you defend yourself when you are just going about your business in your own driveway? So these are the type of attacks. Thankfully, they are not as frequent as other types of attacks, but they are very disturbing for police, because sometimes they happen out of nowhere and people really don't have an opportunity to defend themselves.
Yeah, so along with that, there's also the community response after something like this, especially looking at video like that.
Yeah, these type of occurrences have a tendency to affect the quality of life of any community, because you think that could be me, that could be my brother, my father, anyone that you know or love, that could be them next. So these are the type of occurrences, again, that are very concerning to law enforcement, and sometimes there's not a heck of a lot you can do to prevent them.
As a former police officer, what would your advice be?
As what police say right now, and that is be aware of your surroundings. But again, there are some situations where is it realistic to have your head on a swivel when you're out in your own driveway just going about your day-to-day business? Sometimes these things happen as a result of the dense populations that we see ourselves living in, and sometimes you're just faced with unfortunate circumstances. You do your best to protect yourself, always be looking around as to what's going on, but we need to be realistic as well.
Okay, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan live in studio. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Toronto police have made a 4th arrest in the shooting deaths of 18-year-old Quinton Kaza and 20-year-old Jerry McNeil.
The 2 young men were killed in April in the Bain and Logan area. On Monday, police arrested and charged 20-year-old Kyle Taylor with 2 counts of first-degree murder. 2 17-year-olds and an 18-year-old are also facing the same charges. Another man was arrested on the scene and charged with firearms offenses.
Police believe that they have found human remains in Pickering. So a forensic identification services team was at the scene yesterday near William Jackson Drive and Taunton Road. This is where police taped off a large area in some trees. There remains a heavy presence for the investigation. That's still there, and police are asking that you avoid the area.
Police believe alcohol was a factor in a crash this morning in the West End involving a car and a TTC bus. Chopper 24 flew over the scene on Royal York Road and Delroy Drive, just north of the Queensway, where the vehicles collided just after 5:30 this morning. Police tell us the driver of the car, a man in his 20s, was arrested for impaired driving. It's not yet known if anyone was injured.
There's a live look at Toronto Pearson this morning. This is when we go live inside of the Integrated Operations Control Center for our exclusive morning briefing. Airport Duty Manager Andre Nadeau joins us now. Good morning, Andre. Great to see you.
Hey, good morning. That was actually a great shot of that airplane landing.
Yeah.
Good morning so far. Got wait times 15 minutes or less going through the screening point. Looking at 147,000 passengers coming through today with exactly 1,000 movements is what we're expecting. High of 18 degrees today once we actually get there and the sun does come out. A little bit of rain to start around 10 o'clock this evening. No significant weather across the country to speak of really for today. And we're on a runway 2324 operation today. So you're going to be departing towards the west and arriving from the east, and that should be for the remainder of the day. The only really significant impact is if you're traveling to south of Spain, got some significant flooding that's happening there. There's been some delays going on for the past few days. For those stations. CDF, or Central De-icing Facility, they did have 5 aircraft yesterday, like Mike did mention, go through for a quick little frost spray there. But there's nothing there this morning so far.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. The images are really striking this morning with the sunrise down at Pearson Airport. Also, Thanksgiving long weekend. It's officially here. Any long weekend outlook for travelers? Anything people should keep in mind? I'd imagine it'll be busy.
Yeah, it's got a few numbers. I mean, from today up until Monday, we're looking at 543,000 passengers, which is up about 10,000, 12,000 from last year. We're looking at 3,854 aircraft movements as well, and then 405,000 bags. So it'll be busy, but it'll be, like it's been really throughout the summer. It's, a little over 100,000 passengers, 140,000 passengers a day for the weekend.
All right, Andre, thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend and happy Thanksgiving.
The man has been arrested in a shooting in Markham.
Officers responded to the area of Highway 7 and 9th Line at about 4:30 last Wednesday. This was over reports of gunshots and 2 vehicles speeding. Police say surveillance video showed shots being fired from one vehicle toward another, but no one was injured. 51-year-old Ralph Triloki now facing 4 charges. That includes attempted murder and dangerous operation of a vehicle.
Ontario hospitals say they need an additional $1 billion this year to keep pace with such factors as population growth and inflation.
Yes, the Ontario Hospital Association says hospitals had a collective deficit of $360 million last year and are facing more pressures this year. It says the $1.1 billion the provincial government announced for hospitals in the spring budget is half of what they need to meet the complex financial and operational challenges.
Bakari Arda, the province says it's found a solution for cars and cyclists to share the road, at least along a small stretch of Bloor West. I'm standing here on Bloor in between Islington and Kipling, and this is the short area of road where they say they have found a compromise for cyclists and cars. They're going to keep the bike lanes here as well as add a lane of vehicle traffic. And if you take a look, this is where it's going to happen. Starting here on Resurrection Road, going about 500 meters to Colisode Road. This is between Kipling and Islington. It is a small stretch of road, but as you go underneath that bridge, vehicle traffic is down to a single lane. There is still a cycling lane, but if you see the median there, there is about a good chunk of that road that isn't being used right now. So the province says they're going to keep the bike lane, but also add a lane of traffic. Now, all of this is happening even though there is still a legal fight in the courts. Back in the summer, Ontario Superior Court judge ruled that Doug Ford's provincial law to remove 3 stretches of bike lanes in downtown Toronto is unconstitutional. Now, the government is appealing that ruling with a hearing set for January, but in the meantime, they're going ahead with the smaller project because they say it is still consistent with the court ruling because it actually doesn't get rid of the bike lanes. Instead, they're just rearranging the road so both cars and cyclists can use it. Here's more from the transportation minister on this change they're moving ahead with.
What we can do here is reinstate 2 vehicle lanes. So get Bloor back to 4 lanes in this portion that we've identified, but also provide a protected bike lane. Look, we should never have been in this position if the City of Toronto had just ultimately, when first installing these a couple of years ago, looked at approaches like this in which both vehicle lanes and bicycle lanes could be maintained. But look, we were committed. We were elected on a mandate to get people moving, and that's exactly what we're focusing on here.
Minister Sakaria also says Toronto didn't consider cars when planning bike lanes, and how this small stretch of Bloor is an example of how both bike lanes and vehicle lanes can exist at the same time. And we have been speaking to cyclists who believe that this is a good idea. This small stretch of road is appropriate considering there's not a lot of businesses and not a lot of busyness happening on this road, so a good place to get started when it comes to this compromise. We also heard from Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow, who is on board with this idea. Take a listen.
If there's certainty, there's not a negotiation. I'll do my best to find win-win solutions if it's possible. So if it's not possible, we'll see what we can do. But at this point, we are seeing a solution that accommodate both restore the car lane and protect the bike lanes.
The province says also they will be adding posts and barriers to protect the bike lanes, and cyclists that we've been speaking to say they are happy about that. They would feel safer cycling along this road. Now, how much will all of this cost? The province says it will cost $750,000 for this small stretch of road that they are rearranging, and construction begins in about a week or so. Bakari and Arda, it starts on October 20th.
I do believe a few of them might be, Bakari. We've covered several of them up here in Vaughan and throughout the GTA, sadly, over the last little while. But it's been some very good police work, this time by York Regional Police. They believe now they have connected one accused with 7 shootings throughout the GTA, and as Arda said, going as far west as London. So Kejan Isaiah Doman, 23 years old, is facing a variety of firearms charges, alleging that he shot at 7 different properties from August 17th until September 10th. September 10th was the last one police believe that he fired at, and that was here on Lady Angela Lane in Vaughan. The police were able to arrest him shortly after this shooting, and they recovered a firearm at the time. I'll get to how important that firearm was in connecting these 7 cases, but let's first hear from the detective sergeant who I spoke with earlier today up in York Regional Headquarters. Let's listen.
The investigation is still ongoing. We have arrested a lone offender. However, at this time, we do believe that there are other suspects who are involved in these incidents.
So once they had that firearm, they were able to have that examined by a ballistics expert. Every gun leaves a distinct impression on the cartridge that it discharges, just like a fingerprint. So with that firearm, they were able to examine the other 7 shootings from here to London, and they were able to connect them all to that same firearm. And all they have to prove now on reasonable grounds is that this 23-year-old accused was the person in possession of that firearm, and that's how they came to linking him to 7 shootings throughout southwestern Ontario for the most part. Let's not back to you guys.
Okay, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan joining us from Vaughan.